A bus driver checks on a woman in a crashed car who's never seen again. Father glances out at his daughter sleeping on a cruise ship balcony half an hour before she's never seen again. The doctor watches a terrified man sprint out of an airport and vanish into the distance. These are the last people to see someone alive before they vanished. It was February 9th, 2004. 21-year-old Maura Murray, a nursing student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, had a rough few days. She'd gotten into some trouble at work and school, and that afternoon she packed her stuff into her black Saturn sedan and emailed her professor saying there had been a death in the family and that she needed time off, even though that wasn't actually true. She withdrew money from an ATM, bought some alcohol, and headed north. Around 7:30 that evening, on a dark, winding stretch of highway in Haverhill, New Hampshire, her car veered off the road and slammed into a snowbank. A school bus driver named Butch Atwood was driving home when he came across the wreck. He stopped right away to help. Butch asked if she was okay, and she told him she was rattled but fine. When he offered to call for help or take her to his house nearby to warm up, she said no, that she'd already called AAA for a tow truck and didn't need anything else. Atwood knew cell service could be spotty there, but he drove the short distance home and called 911 at 7:42 p.m. to report the accident. He described seeing a young woman who seemed shaken up and possibly not in great shape. Police arrived just a few minutes later. When they got there, the car was empty. Maura's keys were still in the ignition, her debit card and some other items were left behind, and there was red wine spilled inside. There was an immediate search, but nothing turned up. And to this day, Maura has never been found. 18-year-old Paula Jean Welden was a sophomore at Bennington College in Vermont. The afternoon of December 1st, 1946, she told her roommate she felt like going for a hike to clear her head. She put on blue jeans, a red parka, and boots, and then left campus. She hitchhiked or walked parts of the way toward the long trail, a famous hiking path that runs along the mountains. A couple hikers down the trail spotted her walking up alone. She stopped them, asked a few questions about whether the path went all the way over Glastonbury Mountain and how far it went. They told her yes, it continued on, and she thanked them and kept heading up the trail. That brief chat with those hikers turned out to be the last confirmed time that anyone saw Paula. She never made it back to her dorm that night. Her roommate got worried and reported her missing the next morning. Students, police, and volunteers combed the trail, the surrounding woods and mountains, but there was no sign of her. There wasn't even any indication there had been a struggle or an accident. The case got so much attention that it actually helped lead to the creation of the Vermont State Police the following year, because people realized there just wasn't a strong system in place for handling missing persons across the state. But all these years later, though, the mystery has never been solved. Natalee Holloway from Alabama was on a high school graduation trip to Aruba in late May 2005. On the night of May 30th, she and her friends were out celebrating at bars and clubs. Several classmates and other witnesses saw her that evening at a place called Carlos and Charlie's nightclub. Around 1:30 in the morning, witnesses saw her leaving the area, getting into a silver Honda with three local guys, 17-year-old Joran Vandersloot and brothers Deepak and Satish Kalpo. That was last clear sighting of Natalee. She was supposed to catch a flight home later that same day, but she never showed up at the airport. Her packed bags and passport were still sitting in her hotel room at the Holiday Inn. The three guys later said they dropped her off near the hotel around 2 a.m., but her stories changed multiple times during questioning. A massive search kicked off right away, with police, volunteers, soldiers, and people from the US and Netherlands looking across the island, the ocean, everywhere else, but no luck. 19-year-old Bryce Laspisa was a student at Sierra College in Northern California. In late August 2013, he left his apartment near Sacramento, started driving south to his parents' house in Orange County. He stayed in touch with his mom by phone during the trip. On August 29th, he ran out of gas in Buttonwillow and called for help. The service guy brought him some fuel, and Bryce continued on. Early on August 30th, around 5:30 in the morning, his Toyota Highlander was found wrecked at the bottom of a steep embankment near Castaic Lake off the highway. The car had gone over the side and was on its side, but Bryce wasn't in it, and he wasn't anywhere nearby. Before the wreck, he'd had a long interaction with a gas station clerk in the Castaic area. The clerk later said Bryce was acting a bit strangely during their conversation. Search dogs picked up his scent from the wrecked SUV and followed it across a nearby dam toward a truck stop. But the trail ended there. His phone, wallet, and other belongings were still in the car. To this day, Bryce has never been found. In early April 2014, 21-year-old Kris Kremers and 22-year-old Lisanne Froon from the Netherlands were in Boquete, Panama for a volunteering trip. They had a couple free days and decided to hike the El Pianista Trail, a pretty popular path with some nice views. The morning of April 1st, they left their host family's place. They also took the family dog along with them. The owner of a restaurant near the trail entrance saw them heading out that day. And that sighting by the restaurant owner, as they started up the trail, was the last confirmed time anyone saw the two women. They were dressed for a day hike and seemed prepared for what should have been a straightforward trip, but they never came back. Their host family got worried when the dog returned alone later. Weeks passed before searchers found parts of their belongings, including a backpack, the camera full of photos from the trail, and eventually some scattered bones in the jungle area that turned out to belong to the missing girls. As for what happened to them, there are only theories. The remains didn't appear to show any signs of foul play though, so it was determined that they'd most likely gotten lost and fallen to their deaths. But there's still plenty of doubt, and the case has never had a satisfying conclusion. Lynn Bradley was on a family cruise in the Caribbean in March of 1998, aboard the Royal Caribbean ship Rhapsody of the Seas. She'd been out dancing with her brother earlier that night. The keycard system showed her returning to the family cabin around 3:40 a.m. on March 24th. Her father, Ron, woke up sometime between 5:15 and 5:30, and he saw her sleeping on a lounge chair out in the cabin balcony. Went back to sleep, but when he got up fully around 6 a.m., Amy was gone. Her sandals were still there, but her cigarettes and lighter were missing. The family searched the entire ship immediately and told security the ship was out at sea at the time, and they did a big search of the waters, but nothing was found. That early morning sighting by her father on the balcony is the final confirmed moment before she vanished from the cruise ship. There were reports from people later who claimed to have seen a woman who looked a lot like her on other islands, but none of those reports were ever confirmed, so the case has never been solved. 28-year-old Jean Spangler was an actress and dancer living in Los Angeles with her young daughter in 1949. On the evening of October 7th, she left her home around 5 p.m. After telling her sister-in-law she was going to meet her ex-husband about child support payments and then head to a night film shoot as an extra. A saleswoman at a grocery store a few blocks from her house saw Jean around 6 p.m. She was browsing the aisles, seemed like she was maybe waiting for someone. That was the last time anyone reported seeing her. 2 days later, her purse was found torn up in a remote part of Griffith Park. Inside was a note mentioning a doctor appointment, but no other solid clues. Her ex-husband said he hadn't seen her in weeks, and film studios confirmed that she was not actually scheduled for work that night. A man named Lars Mittank from Germany was on vacation in Bulgaria in July of 2014 with some friends. He got into a fight at a hotel and hurt his jaw and eardrum. On July 8th, the day he was supposed to fly home with his friends, he went to the doctor at Varna Airport for a checkup. The airport doctor, Kosta Kostov, examined him and said he was fine to fly, but Lars seemed very nervous, skeptical, kept asking questions about his medicine, and when a construction worker came into the doctor's office, Lars suddenly panicked. He yelled something about how he didn't want to die there, jumped up and just ran off. He left behind his suitcase, passport, phone, and wallet. Security cameras caught him sprinting through the airport, jumping over a fence, and taking off into the fields, woods outside the terminal. He was running as fast as he could. He was utterly terrified. Once he disappeared into the trees, no one ever saw him again. Those final panicked moments at the airport are his last known contact with anyone. It's still regarded as one of the strangest missing persons cases in recent memory. That's been the video. I'll catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next one.